Hey guys, today we're looking at the most entitled people on Reddit, where parents think that having a child is a financial investment, and she must pay them back with a return on their investment. My parents think I owe them my entire paycheck because they raised me. Post by Asian Liner. I, 19 female, just landed my first full-time job after college. Congratulations! It's not glamorous, but it pays decently, and I've finally been able to move out. I was so proud of myself, until my parents found out exactly how much I make. Out of nowhere, they started hinting that I should give back and help them pay their bills. At first, I didn't mind helping out here and there. I paid for the internet one month and sent groceries another time. But then it escalated. Last week, my mum called me crying because I didn't send money for her monthly support. I was confused. She told me that since they raised me, I owe them a return on their investment. Return on their investment? What are you, a stock portfolio? My dad then texted me a breakdown of how much they spent raising me and suggested a monthly repayment plan. I thought he was joking. He wasn't. They both kept saying that if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't be where you are. True, but does that mean that I now owe them 30% of my paycheck every month for the next few years? I love my parents, but I worked really hard to be financially independent. I have my own rent, student loans, and savings goals. I feel guilty, but also angry. I didn't sign up to be their retirement plan. Has anyone else dealt with this? How do you set boundaries without feeling like the ungrateful child? Oh my god, Obi's parents are hilarious. Having a child is a terrible financial investment. Having kids these days costs a ton. Here, let me Google this. Alright, in Australia, for one child, it costs an estimate of $13,000 to $30,000 every year, or $237,000 to $550,000 over 18 years. That's a lot of money. If you choose to have a kid, you're choosing to take on that cost. And no, they are not obligated to pay it back. That's generally why people don't see having a kid as a financial investment. If you want a return on investment, maybe try, I don't know, stocks, bonds, gold even, not a bloody baby farm. Opie should take Reddit's advice and ask her grandparents how much her parents paid them for raising them. Then come back and update us. Entitled client learns that professionals can in fact walk away. Post by Vtuber. I work as an engineer. I do some consulting on the side, but typically only for people that I know, and as a favour. A good friend of mine asked me to help his in-laws, who are doing some fairly massive renovations. I agreed, solely because he asked me. This is not something that I have any interest in, or need to do except as a favour. It's an old house, and had can of worms written all over it with some of the changes they wanted to do. Now, he warned me that mother-in-law can be unpleasant, but that was an understatement. She seemed to think that because I was being paid, I charged probably like a tenth of what a business would, that she could just snap her fingers at me like I was a servant. I had a few unpleasant emails with her, but it was tolerable. She was rude when I was pointing out issues with their plans, but nothing too extreme. That changed when I started trying to find some time for me to stop by and inspect a few areas of the house to verify some information. I offered to stop by on the weekend, but that didn't work for her. Tried evening times, but still no. Nope, she wanted me to stop by during my office hours because that was best for her. When I told her no, this gets done on the weekends or in the evenings, she went from rude to incredibly hostile, telling me that she is paying me, lol, and that I work with her availability, not the other way around. I CC'd my friend in the chain and told them that I was out and to have fun working with whoever they get. My friend apologised. I said no worries, but not my problem anymore. She emailed back quite stunned that I'd walk away, telling me that it's not how business is conducted. I didn't bother responding. If he's so unprofessional, why reach out? Just get someone who meets your standards. Oh, you can't? Right. About 3 weeks later, I get an email from the husband, now asking me if I would reconsider, and he promises that his wife won't speak to me or be involved in any way. Yep, there it is. I hear from my friend that while the other quotes came back much higher, it was tolerable for them, but not how long the wait was. They just bought this house and want to move in ASAP, but it's an incredibly busy time of year for the industry. Turns out that when companies you reach out to are drowning in work and you have a potentially convoluted and messy project, they aren't chomping at the bit to get to your business. So now they're going to lose the trades they'd lined up because design would take a month or two longer. I passed on the request as I struggled to believe that she'd be kept in check, and I have no desire to bail her out. My friend didn't care and said it'd be nice watching her attitude give her consequences that actually affect her. Whoops, guess she effed around and found out. New hire misses most of the first 3 weeks of work, then uses me as a reference. Post by Sumo Ninja 19. Let's call her Karen because it fits. She came in and applied for a job, and when I looked at her resume and application, I realised that she knew some of my old neighbourhood friends and schoolmates. She interviewed well, so I gave her a job. Told her to be in Monday at 9 AM. Monday morning, she's not in. She no calls, no shows. Tuesday, no call, no show. I'd now written her off. Wednesday, she shows up about noon. Claims that she was in her basement Sunday night and her brother was working out and he accidentally knocked her out during his intense workout. She claimed that her doctor told her that she had a concussion and she should stay home for a few days. She had no doctor's note, no marks on her head, but thinking that her story was so off the wall that it almost could be true, I let her come back to work the next day. She worked Thursday and Friday. We paid at the end of every week, and I gave her a check on Friday. I also did not deduct the days that she missed. She came to me and asked about the full paycheck. I told her that we're a family business, and I realised that people have lives outside of work. We tried to make sure that people knew that they were appreciated and tried to take care of our people. She teared up and thanked me and said that we could count on her. She worked the full next week. Did okay, she seemed to fit in. Seemed. The third week, she showed up on Monday, but Tuesday was another no-show, no-call. We didn't hear from her for over 2 weeks. When she finally showed up, her story was the stuff of legends. She claimed that her husband had forged divorce papers a couple years previous. Thinking she was divorced, she moved back in with her parents. She claimed that her ex-husband was at her parents' house when she got home the last night that she worked. He told her he had made up the divorce and the paper was phony and that they were still married and he wanted to get back together. She claimed she refused and he kidnapped her. She said it took her until a couple of days ago to get away from him, but she wanted to come back into work the next day. She did not call the police and he wasn't arrested. There was nothing in the papers or the news about this. She wasn't hurt, thank God. She asked if I believed her. I did not, but I told her that I really needed someone that I could count on coming in reliably every day. I gave her a paycheck for 1 week, the one where she'd worked 1 day, and I told her I wish her good luck. I'd already replaced her, and her replacement was one of the best employees we ever had. The next month, I come into a phone message that someone from X company called for a reference for Karen. As my secretary is handing me the message, she's laughing at the look of my face. I asked if she was kidding, and she said she wasn't. She said that she got a call from a man saying that he was the owner of a company in the area, and he'd asked about Karen. My secretary asked if she could listen in on the call. I said yes, and she goes and gets my partner and tells him that I'm gonna call and give Karen a reference. Now he's in my office laughing too. I call the guy and we make some small talk. I tell him what we do, and he tells me what he wants Karen to do for him. I tactfully avoid answering any of his questions about Karen directly. I think he was beginning to suspect something. Remember folks, employers can get into a ton of trouble for bad references. He finally asked my opinion of Karen, and what I said was, if you can get Karen to work for you, you'll be very lucky. He heard what I said and how I said it. He repeated it back to me exactly how I said it. All my words were the right ones. It was my tone and intonation that got my point across. He thanked me and hung up. Karen comes into the office a few days later. She looks mad, but is trying to be pleasant. She told me that she's having trouble finding a job and mentioned that she's used me as a reference. She wanted to know if anyone from X company called me. She knew they did. She told me that she really wanted a job at X company. I told her that I had been called, and that I told the guy that he'd be lucky to get her to work for him. My secretary confirmed that that's what I told him. She said that she was right next to me during the whole conversation. Karen smiled and thanked me and headed for the door. She said she wondered why she was having so much trouble getting a job. She asked if she could continue using me for a reference, and I told her absolutely. I also told her that I'd tell everyone the same thing, that any employer would be lucky if they can get you to work for them. She walked away smiling, happy and clueless. If you made it to the end, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!